You know, obviously some people get, you know, they see things on social media and they think it's us versus them. That can't be more further from the truth. These guys are here to help us, and they're always, like I said with what Lucy said, I've never, you know, thank God we've never had to call them for too many times or incidents, but they are always there to help in an emergency. I've never seen, you know, any officer or emergency service personnel that have not wanted to help. So I think a little bit of gratitude and appreciation for what they do, I think is very important. And as a chamber, I think we'd like to get close with them and emergency services, so we'll obviously invite them to all our events, and we want to have a close relationship with them. I think it's very important moving forward to our events. While I'm up here, and before I introduce our next speaker, everyone grab a paper and pen that's in front of you. We're going to need it, I think, for a few things. Obviously, I always like to let you guys know what's happening. We have 2 more of these DRRF events. So one on Wednesday the 26th, and then our last one will be on Wednesday the 10th of July. And then obviously that will conclude our DRRF and emergency responses. But I didn't get a chance to tell Adam then, but I'll see if we can get some of his PowerPoint slides, and we have put them up on our website. So if you have a look in the top right hand corner, we've made a link there with all the guys that have spoken, with some of the information. I know we had Services New South Wales and some other speakers, so we've put them on our website. Our website is going to get overhauled. You know, we need to come into the 21st century, but it's served us well for the time being. And we need to thank obviously our media partners. We have Oz Arab Media. We have .md, they're not in the room. I would like to honestly give a special shout out to I'm going to call it our in-house photographer. Karen, please stand up. This lovely lady was not feeling well, and she said, Michael, I'm not going to let you down. And she came tonight. Honestly, 1 in a million. She is also dancing, one of our members that is dancing for the Cancer Council, for the Dancing with the Stars. I put her, I'm pretty sure we put you up on our website somewhere. I'm not going to look for it just in case. And she's selling $5 raffle tickets. So I think just about everyone in this room will buy and support her, because that is a great cause. And I'd like to obviously thank Karen for all her help and her support. And anyone that does need any photography for whatever event you might have, you definitely need to give her a ring, and we'll put obviously her details on the photos from this evening and a link to get in contact with you. Thank you so much. I honestly appreciate that, and I hope you're feeling better. And all the best for Friday. Is it Friday or Saturday? Friday. And all the best for Friday night. And then once we conclude the DRRF events, we'll go back to our normal after 5s. So the dates will be August the 20th. Wednesdays, we're always on Wednesdays. So August the 21st, September the 18th, and obviously location to be confirmed. We're trying to organise with some of our members. We will try and have the event at your establishment or somewhere to at least give you a bit of a boost in our members to come out and see your facilities that can cater for certain numbers. And if we can do that, we'll definitely come out and help support you, because again, that's what we're here for. And then October 25th, I've been saying it, for every event is our gala dinner, so please put that in your diaries. That is our gala dinner, and I've just been informed tonight that Spiro, please stand up, sir, from National Tech. Yeah. Little bird gets around fast, sir. He's donated a few gifts for the night, some iPads, some laptops, and some electronics. So please, thank you, Spiro. Thank you. And we'll be doing that throughout. Obviously, in the next couple of months, we'll go out and we'll see who we can have, sponsor a few things through the night. Obviously, we'll have some MC and we'll have some musicians and some entertainment, and we will make the night enjoyable. And I think it'll be one to remember. And then we'll finish up. Obviously, in 2 weeks' time, we do have the Lifeline dinner on the 22nd of June at the William Inglis.
We want to sell all the tickets tonight.
June's on a mission, so she wants to sell tickets. Her and Veronica, they're here. They're great supporters of the Chamber, so obviously we'll need to reciprocate that, and we always do. Thank you so much, ladies. So that is the Lifeline event on the 22nd of June. And then also through our media partners, we have the AIMS Talent Awards. So show from Oz Arab Media. So applications close on July the 15th. And then the event will be on September the 19th at the Brian Brown Theatre in Bankstown. We'll obviously put those on our website, Charlie, so once we've got those, we'll put them on. But obviously we'd love to support you as well, the same way you support us. So thank you very much for that as well. And I think that's very important. So without further ado now, we have our Mayor. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and our council members. Obviously, budgets is always, ticks on the back of everyone's mind of how the next 12 months is going to go, and what we're going to pay and what we're going to see, and what are we going to lose is always the questions that we have. Not everyone agrees with what always comes out, unfortunately. That's life, and that's how it is. But I think when you look at it, it's always what's in the best interest for the majority, and there's always going to have to be someone that doesn't like that, and that's just the way life is. But I think we've stuck together through thick and thin, and we really need to stick together, and that's obviously what keeps us going. I think that's very important, that we support one another professionally, respectfully, and that's how we move forward. And without that, so thank you, Ned, if you'd like to come up and look at the local budget. Thank you, sir.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to start off by acknowledging my councillor colleagues who are here with us tonight. To the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Fiona McNaught, Councillor Chris Rhodes, Councillor Peter Harl, and Councillor Richard Amoon. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for your time, for allowing me to say a few words here tonight. I know your time is very valuable, and we appreciate what it is you do, so I want to thank you very much. And I want to thank everyone for the Chamber, to Michael, Dimitri's not here, all the different board members, for the work and effort that you do, because once again, the business is, especially small business, is the heart of our economy and heart of our community, and Chambers play a very, very important role in our community. So I want to thank you for the work and effort that you do in getting this going, because it is ultimately a volunteer organisation. The purpose of why I want to speak here tonight is ultimately what Council is trying to do, and I'm going to preface this. I'm going to be very boring because I'm going to talk a lot of numbers, right? But what we try to do ultimately is we have to facilitate communication between the council organisation and the community. I.e., we need to hear from you, because the council effectively is a group of people who either live here or work here. We put a bunch of money together, i.e. through our rates, and we deliver services that the community wants. That's ultimately what we do. What's important though is that we hear and we get feedback about what you want to see in this area. So the reason why that's important ultimately is that we need proper data and feedback to be able to make decisions on what we do with our expenditure. Now, what I just want to give you just a bit of an overview of Liverpool. Now, our gross regional product as a council area is $16 billion. Now, that's more than 60 nations in the world, just to give you perspective. We are projected to be the third largest economy in Australia. That is massive. We're just about, we don't know exactly, but we're roughly around 250,000 residents. So finally we've hit that 250,000 mark of people. Liverpool every year grows by 5,000 people every single year. As was mentioned before, we talked about Parramatta. Liverpool is the capital of the Southwest. We need to look at things, not just us as far the 5,000 people, rather we need to look at the 20,000 people that move into Southwest Sydney every single year. They're big numbers, they're big opportunities, but they also represent big challenges. As an organisation, we have $3.5 billion worth of assets. To bring them up to speed, we need $50 million to get them to where they should be. Annually, we need $30 million to be able to maintain those assets. So once again, they're big numbers. This is a much different Liverpool than where we were, 15 years ago. This year's budget, we have a $457 million budget. It's the largest one we've ever had. Out of that, $280 million operating budget, and we've got $177 million capital works program scheduled for this year. Now, thankfully, we do have a modest surplus, which we're now in a positive situation, which is a situation that we have not been in a very, very long time. We started off, just to put this in perspective, 2 years ago when we got elected, we had an $11 million operating deficit. And as you know in your business, that's not sustainable. Likewise, like every single person here, every business or every household, we have to be able to work in a situation where we're not spending more than what we actually have coming in. So thankfully, we're on a positive trajectory. That allows us to do more of what the community wants. Every time we're contacted by the community, every time somebody wants something, bear in mind, there's a cost to that. We want better services for the community. We want our city to look better, to be better well maintained, to have better infrastructure, better parks, but ultimately it gets down to mainly a financial resourcing issue. Some of the other key things that we have is we're actually increasing our headcount in the organization. We're going from 870 staff to over 900. And that's a deal with the massive growth that we have going in this area. We've got 920 kilometers of roads that we have to maintain. They grow every year by 10 kilometers with all the new growth happening in this area. So the task is massive. Now, what we ultimately want to hear and what the goal of today is, one, about me just giving you these high-level numbers without boring you, putting you all to sleep. But ultimately what we want is we want your feedback. We want to hear from you of what you think should be going into the budget. It's currently on exhibition. We'd love for you to go to our website and give us your feedback. Say, hey, Ned, we want you to do this for us. Well, we have this. This is what should happen. That way we can consider it and hopefully get some funding for it. Now, to give you a bit of an overview of where the journey that we have gone on recently. So, Council was very successful in securing $170 million from West Invest. So when we had the previous state government, they had sold West Connects, and we were able to secure $170 million. Putting that in perspective, we got a little bit more than our neighbours in Fairfield. It's always a sore point with Frank. We love Frank, but we were able to get significantly more money. Now we're starting to see that money start being delivered. Light Horse Park, stage 1 is opening up very soon, and we're going to have what is it? The world's best, or Australia's best kayak launch with full disability access, opening up in a month's time. So that's a big tick. But Light Horse Park is meant to be the main park in the area. And to give you a perspective what I mean by that, over $40 million of investment is going into it. It is going to be like Darling Harbour. Like when you go down to the IMAX theatre, it's that level of park. So that should service our whole community. We've got currently, you'll see on Macquarie Street on the top end, there's a lot of it. There's the new paving works going in there with world-class lighting that's coming in, which will hopefully continue on the real success that we've had in the nighttime economy, which I'll touch on in a moment. Now, one thing that we have seen successful is the nighttime events. Hands up here to anyone who's been to our nighttime events, Experience the World. Okay? So, you are part of the 1 million people that have visited Liverpool CBD in the last 2 years at night time. Now, just picture this, right? You go there and people say, "Oh, the mall, it's not, it's not really that good." At night time, everyone's on Instagram taking pictures, and they say, "Wow, what is this place? Where did this come from?" And it's like, look, it's actually always been here. And it shows that when we have these events, they run for like 3 days at a time, and we're getting between 40 and 60,000 people attending during those weekends. So that is providing a massive boost to us. Our goal is to get that eventually happening every weekend. But we can't start off, we had to start from somewhere. We started with we brought back Sorry Night, which wasn't in the mall, but up the road. And we had our Blessed Nights, great, tick. Then last year we did the Experience the World events, where we had one for every particular culture. But once again, now this year we want to do even more and more and more. So once again, that becomes the heart of our community. Because when you look at it, what's the point of having an area where you just live here and you leave every day? If you want to have fun, you have to leave. If you want to go to work, you have to leave. We need to change that dynamic. And that's what part of the whole, what do we do from the day, what do we do from nighttime? Because if we're going to be like Parramatta, but even be better than Parramatta, we've got to have these things to do. So thankfully, that's been a positive success. One of the other things that's coming up, is when you look at the land holdings within the CBD. Liverpool City Council is the largest landowner within this city centre. We have Northumberland Street Car Park, we have the Bathurst Street Car Park, we have land next to Chemist Warehouse, and other little bits and pieces. And you have to ask yourself, when is the right time to start developing them? Now, if we want to get our CBD more performing better economically and getting better trade in there, we need to be able to bring more people in there with disposable income to start spending money. Now, at the moment, the biggest constraint we have is our car parks. The way that they work, they're set up in them, they're wrong. So we're going out there, and as we said, we want to add 500 new extra parking spots. We'll hopefully be going out to EOI very soon on those blocks of land and saying, well, you tell us, community, what can we do with this land? What do you think that can happen? If we get them up and developed, there'll be a massive shot in the arm for the area. We have currently no cranes in the sky in Liverpool, and that is a shock. Right? It's the first time I would say probably, I can't prove this, but at least this decade, this century that we have not had a crane in the sky. That's going to create a lot of problems for multiple people, whether you're renting in a property, because as the rental supply dries up, it's going to push things up, but even just general economic activity for the area. So we want to get this kick-started up and going, and these things do take time. You've seen Civic Place, that's provided a boost to the area. Very costly. We've done it. We still don't have it rented out. It's costing us around $8 million a year in lost income, but we're very positive and very optimistic that we'll be able to get that place leased out very, very soon. Even as of today, we've had hopefully some positive news on that. One of the other things that council did, I think it was in March. We signed an MOU with the University of New South Wales. We always said that the way we're going to build our city centre is we need to give it a purpose. And our purpose, we obviously have the biggest health and medical precinct, but we want to top that up with education. Why should kids have to go to Milpera outside of our area to learn? Why do they have to go to Penrith and all that? So thankfully we have Western Sydney University, and hopefully very soon they're going to announce a massive expansion plan in the CBD. Wollongong University is there, and now with the University of New South Wales, they're currently doing a needs analysis of what they actually want to bring to this area. That will provide us a massive foundation to continue building on, getting students into the area. Hopefully those students choose to live in Liverpool, buy a property in Liverpool, and then hopefully we'll get the corporates to come and fold in, because once you've got the knowledge and the human capital, they'll start staying in our CBD. So the plan that we have is working. Obviously it takes time, but I think that's going to be a very, very big positive for our area. One thing that I'd like to ask of each and every one of you is, when you look at the success of Parramatta, that didn't happen because of council. It didn't happen because of one person said to do something. It was a joint effort by everybody involved. Everybody who had an ask, everybody was singing from the same song sheet, and the chamber over there played a massive role in that. And I'd love for us to replicate that. So, and then let's look at what Parramatta asked for and what they got. You know, they get billions of dollars, and that's billions with a B. Their art centre is probably going to pretty much hit $1 billion. They got a light rail, you know, what's that, $3 billion now with stage 2 at least. They're getting a brand new metro from the city, out through to Westmead, so they can get to the city in around, what are they saying? It's around 20 minutes or 15 minutes. So they're spending all that money just to save 5 minutes, obviously increase and to deal with the population on the Western Line. They got a brand new stadium. They had a stadium, but they said, let's knock it down and rebuild it, another $300 million. When you put that in perspective, what have we got? What are we asking for is probably the main point. And what I'd want to encourage each and every one of you is, when you have an opportunity to engage with anybody, if we can sing from the same song sheet and say, what is it that we need? First and foremost, we need the metro extended from Bankstown to Liverpool, right? That is paramount, because all of a sudden you go from an hour to the city to Liverpool to half an hour, maybe even less. We need that also. That's a catch-up project. When you look at Liverpool, what we need that going out to the airport, right? We need that connected. If not, you can imagine what's going to happen when these 20,000 people are moving in here every year, right? They start off with a couple of kids, 1 or 2 kids. Those kids are young. They have 2 cars. When the kids get older, all of a sudden you got 4 cars in every household, right? The roads aren't built for that. So we need to be lobbying for that metro from Bankstown to the airport. Without that, we are going to be stuck. But that will be able to unlock things massively. The other thing that we're doing in the short term is at least trying to get an express service from Bankstown to Liverpool on the current network when the metro opens up next year. That will save us massive amounts of time. We've got that. 15th Avenue is another massive one. We talk about housing, we talk about economic growth, but we've got 30,000 houses that are being built at the moment in Austral on a 2-lane road with no gutters, no lighting, and it's shocking. So we need to be advocating to get that road built ASAP, because if not, I tell you, this area is going to start grounding to a halt. It'll affect our lives and it'll affect our businesses. And once again, that's a probably catch-up piece of infrastructure. You've got the government at the moment, we talk about stadias. The government at the moment is spending $300 million adding, check this out, 2,500 seats at Penrith Stadium for $300 million, right? And you think about it, well, what are we supposed to do in this area? Where do we go to have fun? Where do we go to have entertainment? They want us to be a city. They want us to take growth. These are the important things that will have positive knock-on effects throughout our economy. So I ask you once again, and I'd love if the chamber, if somehow you can have some discussions about these and formalize it. So when you get politicians to get up there and speaking, you don't let them walk out of here for free, right? When you get them to say, this is what this area needs at a bare minimum. And let's make our ask, let's make it high, because we are doing the heavy lifting. When I talked about the gross regional product, we're doing our heavy lifting. We're working. Our population growth is massive, but also our growth in industrial factories and other businesses, that is massive as well. And we don't really talk about that too much. So if we're doing all this heavy lifting, why shouldn't we have the infrastructure that areas like Parramatta has? We have the opportunity to be even better than Parramatta, because we can learn from their mistakes. But I think if we can do that collectively, that's going to strengthen us. It's going to take time, and it took time for Parramatta, and now it's just a success story. And hopefully that's our story for the future. So look, once again, I want to thank you very much for your time. Please go to Liverpool City Council website. You can go there, and please give us your feedback in writing. It's open for another, not too long. So hop on there, do it. If you can read the 1,000 pages while you're at it, have a bit of fun, put you really good to sleep. But anyway, I want to thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you stole my lines because they were all on my to-do list. So we do have a very list of things that we wanted to push as a chamber, and I feel like that is and these were the points that we were looking at as a small business. I'm a sporting fan, and I was at the football on the other week, and I always head out to Parramatta Stadium to watch the games as well. We need a stadium out here. It has to be in a major city of what this is going to be. Stadiums, metro, and if you look at it, and I said this to the Stephen Cox, who is the nightlife minister, and I was like you said, people have to leave the area or leave the country to go and have a good time, and that's something that I just thought, we live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and we got to get out of here to have a good time, and I thought it's a shame. But I think the biggest thing that I see, and and with all due respect, is that we need to put ourselves up here, like you said. If we're going to think like a city or be a major city, we need to think like a major city as well. So look at the things that major cities have and think, why shouldn't we have that? Why should we limit ourselves with what we've got? So I think that's very important, and like you said, the chamber will be advocating for these things with support of the council, because I think that's very important. Guys, like I said, we do from Ned and the council, and they said obviously any suggestions that you have, come forward and have a chat with them. This is what we hope to provide as a chamber, is a vehicle where you can have access to your council members, you have access to obviously the emergency services. That's what we want to do. We want to be the medium where, and get these ministers in and be able to have a one-on-one conversation with them. They might not be a long conversation, depending on the event, but 99% of the times, even I'm at a lot of events, and I get their card, and I speak to a lot of ministers, and they're normally pretty good to give me their time. Maybe they're scared I'll jump them or something, I don't know. But they're far from the truth. But they're always happy to answer some questions, and I think that's very important. And that's what the chamber is about, is to be that, that medium where we can invite these ministers in and then let them know how we feel. And it's the strength through numbers of a business chamber such as ours and the council that puts us together and gives us a say. And I believe that there's strength in numbers, and that's what we need to do. That pretty much wraps up for formality. Peter, yeah, okay. I'll do that in a minute, but I just want to before I forget, I know I'm jumping the gun, but I'd like Fari to stand up for a minute. Anyone that hasn't met Fari, please stand up for a second. I want to give him a small accolade because this gentleman owns KMA and is the CEO of IG Institute, which is an RTO. But my children have been training with Fari, oh my God, for the past 15, 16 years. And their confidence has grown. But even though he is going to Korea to do his 9th Dan black belt, and that is one hell of an achievement. I've jumped the gun, but I thought just in case if I'm not here next year, because he's actually not here next year, I thought I'm going to give it to him now, because if I'm not here next year, we might forget to give it to him.
The process is starting in next week.
But that's a great achievement, and I thought we'd have to, give you a bit of recognition for that. Thank you so much. It's very, very good. And the school is on George Street, so KMA, I guarantee you, your children and adults is amazing, so I thought I'd do that. We'll take some suggestions for the council. Obviously, their thoughts, and we're trying to be in a positive word. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Fari, I think he's one of the disciples here as well. Actually, I've got a question for Peter Hull. I keep hearing about the surplus, and Peter's here all the time, and it's going to be good to hear from Peter in relation to this. But looking at the budget, there was roughly around $90 million worth of assets for sale. Now, that's like selling your house to pay your credit card, so I don't think that's good management. And recently, the CEO was just fired, costing the ratepayers $1 million. Now, that's currently under investigation, opening up all ratepayers to a potential multi-million-dollar liability. The mayor mentioned that the building is struggling to rent the building, $8 million in lost income at City Place. I don't know if everyone's seen the news. Council have got issues with people catching cancer in one of their buildings. Now the university are getting nervous. They may want to leave. There's another empty building. I'm looking at all the ratios. It fails on every ratio, from outside building, industry, infrastructure renewal ratio, operating performance ratio. It's been terrible. In my eyes, that's my opinion. I'm an accountant, I've looked at it. It's not all rosy. I think you've got to tell both sides, and I'd like Peter to answer that question.
If you keep it to suggestions, please, guys. If you have any positive suggestions that could walk through, I'm more than happy to take them. Peter, if you want a quick suggestion.
No, I don't have a suggestion. What I would like to say, though, is that the budget is up for discussion at the next council meeting, and if anybody has any issues with it, that's the time and place to argue it, which I will be doing. Thank you.
Perfect, thanks, Peter. Well, that's basically what we're here for, guys. So if you do have, obviously, I'll come to you guys in a minute. These suggestions, these are what we work through. So, and that's how we solve these issues. So, and that's what, as a business chamber, we'd like to see. If we're not happy about something, by all means, we need to come up with solutions together for the betterment of the community. Farid, suggestion?
You mentioned that there's no cranes in Liverpool right now, which I agree, I haven't seen any. Is there anything in the
Pipeline?
In the pipeline? Are they due? Is it on planning? Is Meriton wanting to do any more? Is there anything big that's waiting for approval that maybe council can speed up or something, or what's happening?
Yeah, so if you look at where things were supposed to go, we've got 2 massive approvals on Elizabeth Street, where the old, not where Thrifty is, but next to Thrifty, where Peter Warren was in the CBD, and next to it, where the old Big Smith and the old food shop there on the corner of George and Elizabeth Street. They're talking about 30-story towers, 300 units, one's got a hotel in it. Now, so there are a couple of them that are approved, ready to go. There are plenty of approvals. You got the Eagle Homes building, 130 units, it's approved. You got the one at Gemelli's, another 240 units, that's approved. Plenty of commercial space. The problem is not the approval at this point in time. It's that what's happened is we've had 11 interest rate rises, plus a 30% increase in construction costs. So at the moment, it's not feasible. What they're saying is that the latte line, for those who are familiar with the latte line, anything below that doesn't stack up at the moment for development. So that's one of the challenges that we have. What we've done is we've said that if you are going to finish a building within 4 years, we won't charge you contributions. So that's resolved. That saves $10,000 per unit roughly. So that's one thing that we can do that's within our control. And we've just done the new LEP as well. Hopefully that encourages more people to invest. We've dropped the commercial ratio because at the moment when you develop, you've got to put 20% commercial, and it really, really hurts a building. So for example, the one that's on the corner of George and Elizabeth, that's got 6,000 square meters of commercial space. That's roughly the size of council's old building on 33 Moore Street. So you've got to get that pre-committed before you can actually build. If not, you're spending it's going to cost you $30 million just to construct it and hope for it. Which, yeah, banks will like that. So until we see what will change it, ultimately is we need that interest rates to start coming down. It actually sounds bad, but we need property prices in units to actually go up to make it economical. Yeah. So yeah.
May I add a matter to suggest something that would lift the spirits a little bit? As we've been speaking about numbers, I can imagine people's hair is starting to fall out. So, you've mentioned a lot about the art space in Liverpool, and the arts space and entertainment space. And I'm particularly keen on that because I represent that space quite well, not only within Liverpool but abroad, in southwest Sydney and also North Sydney, as I'm a musician in this space but also practicing law in the art space. And I'd like to make a suggestion in respect of your consultation process and understanding the feedback. That's because I noticed you directed a lot of individuals to a feedback form, but I'd highly recommend, as an alternative to doing so, is establishing a consultation period with people who practice in the space. The reason I say that is because if you're not familiar with Create New South Wales policy for the 10-year cultural arts sector, they've conducted a 3-month process of consultation with musicians and artists to understand where their pain points are and to understand where to allocate budget resources to ensure there's not a misallocation. The effect of doing so was that they were able to increase Australia's creative outputs by about 3% in the space of about 6 months. And if you want to rival appropriately the spaces like Parramatta, as you mentioned, I think the best way to do so would to be conducting things at a grassroots level. And I'm more than happy to chat with you about that in respect of approaches, but that's just something to keep in mind I think would be worthwhile.
So yeah, no, thank you for that. So that's like sort of like small focus groups specifically about issues with subject matter experts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good idea. Great. We're doing another thing where we've got it's more, we did it last year for the first time. It's not relevant to what you said, but it's a like an online survey. You know, we have like 900 respondents, but then we weight the data according to population and stuff. So it's a bit more balanced approach versus just, you know, a specific. I'll give you an example of a specific group. So when we did the LEP, we changed the zoning. We put it up for consultation, and we dropped the zoning. We dropped the height limits in the suburbs. So where you had a shopping centre in the suburbs, so Cecil Hills, I think it's got an 18 metre or 21 metre height. So we dropped that. So guess what the community consultation said? We don't support dropping the height limit. So you think, why is that? Then look at who made the submissions. All the property owners who own those shopping centres. So you've got to make sure that I guess it's balanced out. So just that on a side note, but I think what you said is a very good idea. And hopefully what we're doing with, I guess, here is maybe a little bit of sense. I know it's very bad, we should do it much better, but at least start talking and saying we've gone to the chamber, we want this, and have this process that we go through. We'll say that, we'll have a chat afterwards.
Lovely.
Thank you very much, Ned. Thank you very much, everyone. Like I said, that sort of concludes formalities for tonight. Just quickly, as always, who is not a member of the chamber? Not a member? Well, you guys need to join. Okay, so that's a Joseph thing. So that's his thing. Is if you're not a member, why not? But honestly, that's what we're here for. You know what I mean? So these are important. And that's what we want to do as a chamber. We want to get these focus groups. We want to have more meetings with council, with ministers, put your ideas forward, because I think it's very important. And I think to become the second city, obviously, or the third city, I should say, largest city, is very important. Sorry, did you want to?
I was just going to ask if there's any incentive by way of discount for people coming from Europe.
An incentive? Mate, you're in the room with the best people in the business here. So I don't think you need more of an incentive than that. Thank you very much, everyone. Actually, before everyone leaves, business cards. We have 2 bottles of